Hello, and welcome to episode 50 of the VictorPrep Vocab podcast. Starting off with a quote from Alexander Dumas, an amazing author. You have to read The Count of Monte Cristo. So if you haven't read that book, add it to your list. There is neither happiness nor misery in the world. There is only the comparison of one state with another, nothing more. He who has felt the deepest grief is best able to experience supreme happiness. We must have felt what it is to die, that we may appreciate the enjoyments of life. So, episode 50. Well, I can't believe it. It's taken a while for it to happen, due to the lack of episodes recently. But anyway, episode 50, hopefully we'll do another 50 episodes together. But before we get started on the new stuff, let's just quickly go over what we did in episode 49. Those words were phlegmatic. That is a word which is used to describe a person, and it's a person who's calm, stays cool under pressure, being unemotional, phlegmatic. Discreet. Note, discreet ending in E-T-E and not E-E-T. Discreet means individually separate or distinct. So normally you're describing a number of things and you say they're all discrete. So they're all separate and distinct. Malediction, that is a curse, like as in a magical curse. So if you anger a witch or a wizard and they curse you, that is a malediction. And our final word from last time was philanthropy. Philanthropy, that is the desire to promote the welfare of others, giving gifts, money, or just helping people. So guys, let's learn some new words. And our first word is complaisant. Complaisant. Now, I have to do a bit of explanation here because there are two words, homophones, with different spellings. So there's complacent, spelled C-O-M-P-L-A-I-S-A-N-T. That's the one we're learning today, complacent. And there's also another complacent, which is C-O-M-P-L-A-C-E-N-T. So one ends I-S-A-N-T, and one ends A-C-E-N-T. We're doing the one with an S at the end. So I know this is confusing, but we're doing the one that has an S in it. The other one means being smug or showing too much satisfaction with your own achievements. Now, the complacent we're going to be looking at today, I'm sorry, I really don't like homophones for this reason because it is so confusing to teach them. But complacent is an adjective, and the complacent with an S at the end, S-A-N-T, means willing to please others. It means being agreeable or obliging. So if a person is complacent, it means basically they're a good person. They're a good guy or a good lady. And if you ask them for a favor, they're going to help you, and it's not a big deal for them. Some synonyms of complacent are willing, agreeable, amenable or amenable, cooperative, accommodating, obliging. Our next word is yoke. Yoke, and that's spelled Y-O-K-E, not to be mistaken with yoke, Y-O-L-K. And I think it's kind of funny that I've picked two words today, complacent and yoke, both that have homophones. Okay, well, I'm sure you know that yoke, Y-O-L-K, means the yolk of an egg. That's the orange-yellow bit of an egg. We're not doing that meaning. We're doing Y-O-K-E, yoke, which means, it's a verb, and it means to attach something with another thing. So traditionally, yoke has been used with animals. So a pair of cows might be yoked together to pull a plow. That is a real classic meaning. It means something similar to harness or tether or fasten. So some donkeys might be yoked together, or horses might be yoked together, and so on. while the traditional meaning of yoke has been to do with fastening animals together, it can also be used for anything that's been fastened to another thing, and often implies a sort of close relationship between the things that have been put together. So you might say, I feel like sometimes I'm yoked to my desk, and that would mean you feel like you've been attached to your desk closely. And the meaning of that sentence, it would be sort of implied that you spend a lot of time at work or a lot of time at your desk, and maybe too much. That's the sort of implication of using the word yoke. And while yoke is a verb, it's also a noun, which is the actual type of harness thing that can be used to attach animals together. I don't think that meaning of the word or that usage of the word is that common. So yoke is the verb to attach a couple of animals together, or used in a metaphorical sense, like I'm yoked to my job, and so on. And it's also the actual thing, a type of harness that can be used to attach a couple of animals together. So some synonyms of yoke, the verb, are hitch, tether, fasten, join, and some synonyms of the noun yoke are a harness, a collar, or a coupling. And if you hear a sentence like, the government has a yoke on its people, remember this implies a sort of oppression or domination or even enslavement, because it's implying that the government has yoked its people, it has attached its people or enslaved them in the same way that a couple of cows might be enslaved to work for the farmer. Our third word is lavish. Lavish. That's an adjective. It's spelled Lavish. Lavish. Lavish means rich, luxurious, or elaborate. So a lavish meal would be the sort of meal you might have if you went to a very fancy party, or you went to dinner with the Queen or with someone rich. Many different foods, expensive foods, and wine and champagne, and maybe some more exotic fare like caviar or truffles or otherwise exotic foods. Some synonyms of lavish are sumptuous, expensive, opulent, grand, rich, fancy, or posh. So think of the last wedding you went to that might have had a lavish party or a lavish meal. And lavish also is a verb, and it's very similar to the adjective. To lavish something on someone is to give something that's extremely generous or extravagant. So if you lavish some praise on someone, that's extremely extravagant praise. So that's to lavish. Final example of that could be a generous parent lavished pocket money on her children. So she gave her children an extravagant amount of pocket money. Our fourth word for today is abyss. Abyss. That's spelt A-B-Y-S-S. Abyss. That is a deep or seemingly bottomless hole or chasm. So if you imagine going to the mountains and you see a deep crack into the mountain, and you look down the crack and you just see a deep, dark hole. And the hole is so deep, you can't see the bottom. That's an abyss. If you dig a hole with a spade in your garden, that's not an abyss. That's just a hole in the ground. An abyss implies so deep or even maybe bottomless. It's more of a poetic word in a sense, because it has that connotation of being so deep, you can't see the bottom, maybe there is no bottom kind of thing going on. So some synonyms of abyss are crevasse, gorge, fissure, gulf, cavity, void, or chasm. And you can use abyss as a word that doesn't necessarily mean a physical gap or a physical hole, but could mean a metaphorical hole. So you could say, after our argument, there was an abyss between me and my girlfriend. There was a huge hole or fissure between me and this other person. There was an abyss between us. So those were our words. Let's just quickly review them. They were complacent. That means willing to please others, being agreeable or obliging, to be cooperative. Yoke. That means to attach some animals together, to couple them together. But it can also mean a couple of people to be joined together, or any other things, two or more, to be joined together in a close relationship. Lavish. That means sumptuous, rich, luxurious. It can also mean to give something extremely generously or give something in extravagant quantities. And our final word was abyss. That is a deep or bottomless pit or chasm. Now let's go over our test sentences. For each sentence, just think about which word I am referring to. Richard sometimes felt like he was chained to his job. He didn't like working there, but he felt like it was impossible to quit. Jane sometimes spent so much time trying to make everyone else happy in her life that she forgot about her own wants and dreams. I got a little bit scared when I looked down the well and saw that it was so deep and dark that I couldn't see the bottom. I dreamed that I went to a queen's banquet in a fairy tale world. All the princes and princesses from all the kingdoms were there, and we ate and drank sumptuous and exotic fare all evening. So that was episode 50, and I just wanted to thank everyone for listening, because I feel like it's time to give a really big thank you to all you guys, because it's been 50 episodes, and if you're still listening to me after 50 episodes, then, well, that's amazing to me. I didn't think a podcast about words would ever really be that popular, but there's a lot of listeners from all different countries, so it's lovely that so many people from all over the world find words interesting and want to improve themselves. That's amazing to me. So thank you. It doesn't matter whether you're in Nepal, Taiwan, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Iran, China, or the US, because it's something that we all are passionate about. Clearly, everyone wants to learn, everyone wants to improve themselves, and trying to improve the language is an amazing thing. So thank you all for listening, and thank you for the emails you send. It makes me so happy to read them. So please keep sending me emails. You can email me at sam.fold@gmail.com. Thank you so much. And again, it's the new year now, so let's pick some amazing goals for this year, and let's do it. All right, bye-bye.